Today I'm going to talk to you about how we can use comments on videos in investigative journalism. And I'm going to explain this by running sentiment analysis on one video. And then this application I've created allows me to bundle a series of videos into a collection, or organize a series of videos into a collection, so that we can then synthesize all of those insights into one report. So if we have an event like the Oklahoma City bombing, which was my first big story as a reporter when I was a young reporter, we can run a search via Google API against the most commented videos. And so when I do that on the term OK bomb, which was the FBI's term to describe the bombing, we can pull up videos, but I'll just search Oklahoma City bombing to make it more. And we're going to search most commented videos. I'm looking for a sampling of different sources at this point because I want to bring in a wide variety of different opinions and the media landscape, right, left, center, all outlets are all over the map. So let's say we're going to bring in comments from Tucker Carlson. So I'm going to go ahead and fetch the comments. As I analyze this application is pulling in a sampling of all those comments. We're pulling in 300. It's going through all the comments. It's trying to deduplicate them and synthesize them down. But the first report here tells us the sentiment analysis of this video according to 6 sections: sentiment distribution, audience segmentation, intelligence extraction, thematic analysis, lead extraction, and then strategic value and editorial recommendations. These are the things that I want to collect from these videos. I have stipulated a prompt in the back end of this application that does the legwork for me. So when I click the button, it seeks the prompt, it inputs it into the model, and I get this output. But what I'm really looking for is a strategic report that says what all of these things mean for me. So that's another step in the flow. I'm going to extract the comments, I'm going to analyze the sentiment, and then I'm going to create an insights report with groupings and themes that I can scale across my investigation and to other reports that I run just like it. So this one, because it's larger, takes a little bit to run. When it gets done, I will save it in my database so that I can put it in a collection with other reports. And so I'm going to be able to say at this level, we have an executive verdict, meaning what's the bottom line? Why should leadership care? What confidence level do I have that this is true or false? And what urgency level is there that we pursue this in the newsroom? I can give top decision grade findings, meaning this is something we should focus on, this is something we should focus on. I can focus on perception gaps, narrative landscape, risk map, reputation risk, trust vulnerabilities. It goes on and on and on and on. So from an investigative perspective on this video, I've decided I want to save it to my database. So I'm going to save it. I could also export it as a report for consideration later. by my news manager. So I'm going to go ahead and print this. Okay. So now let's go back. I have Tucker. Let's go into a history center documentary. We're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to extract the comments, 300, and I'm sampling by relevance. I'm going to do the first step in the flow, which is the sentiment analysis part of this. What are all the comments saying? I'm going to wait for this to complete. Same themes from the previous report, which is critical in our atomic data model. We want to try to be consistent. And then we're going to generate out our AI Insights report at the back end of this. When I typically do this for clients, I'm doing 10 videos. I'm identifying 3 that are sort of using air quotes left, 3 that are right, 3 that are in the middle, and 1 new media, meaning an up-and-comer streamer who's doing content in a different way. Today, I'm probably not going to do all of those, but the AI Insights report, its 11 sections, are that scalable data model that goes across all the reports when I bring them into a collection later. These 6 sections, same thing. So we just want to make sure that we're organizing what we want when we run the analysis in advance so that we can create that prompt with the right variables to elicit this and then program that to be seen on the front end, which is a development task. But the strategy of getting to this output does not require a developer. We need to think through the flow. What's the user doing? What actions are they taking? And then architect behind the scenes so that the keystrokes of one click do whatever is needed to get this output. So I'm going to save this into the database. I can export this as well. I'll go ahead and do that. I also have built in a method to export this by CSV if I want it in easier copying form. Okay. That's our second video. So we've got the History Channel, we've got Tucker Carlson. Let's find something NBC. All right, load these comments. Mainstream media, analyze sentiment. And as we're going through these steps, remember the value of AI in investigative journalism is often going to be categorization and classification of data just like this. It could be a sitemap of a site that has a gajillion pages. It could be a Reddit column that has comments that we want to parse and ingest for insights. But raw data is nothing. It is noise. What we need is technology to help us see through the noise, hear through the noise, see through the fog, and get to real information. So we did the first step. Let's do the second. And I'm investigating an event here, the Oklahoma City bombing. I'm assuming I have a team that wants to do some work on investigating this event. But if I'm doing reputation management for a single person, if I'm doing research on a single event, if I'm doing location-based queries on some specific city, county, state, this all works the same. We need to identify the source of the review, comment, or email. We need to isolate out what we want in the report at the end, and then we need to create a prompt that can be put into the engine in the background in order to get this output. So I'll save this. I'm going to export this. All right. I'm going to stop here. I would normally do 10, but just in terms of you guys not being bored, I'm going to move ahead and I'm going to say, okay, so now I've got these things that I've saved in my database related to the Oklahoma City bombing investigation. I want to form a collection of this so I can analyze all of these things together. I get a little bit of a coding issue I'll deal with later. And I want these 3 videos that I did included in this collection. And now I have this Oklahoma City bombing collection. These are my reports, and then I'm going to synthesize all of these together into one master report. And this is really going to be the value, because sure, we want to know what viewers say on one video, but really what we're looking for is an orchestra of insights so that I can pull 3 videos together and tell a newsroom, here's where we think the cues are to go. It's an art, not a science, but we can weed through all these things and say, hey, the investigation, it's complex between people who are upset. They're very mad about the government narratives because of what the reports after the bombing actually revealed about what happened in the days after the bombing. All of these things are easy to pull out, and we can say the first one, government mistrust, personal connections, emotional resonance, contradictions and tensions. We can create a knowledge graph of the key figures that might be necessary in order for us to investigate. And I think that there is a lot of speculation about some of the deaths of some of the people who were involved in the bombing investigation that are being called out. If we can distill this into a single report, then my investigative team has something to go on when they take that next step. And what I've ended up doing is running this sort of analysis and then creating spatial grids with markers to represent key parts of an investigation. So if we're going to be doing something like the Karen Silkwood case, to be able to use location-based markers and to be able to paint a picture of where things are spatially compared to each other, that's going to be very critical for people to get an understanding of the context behind content. I'll be talking a lot about spatial storytelling, meaning using maps, data, text, video, images, audio together to paint a picture of what content really is. What is a story? And a story today is so many different things. It's images, it's videos, it's social posts, it's podcasts, it's timelines. We want a way to capture all of this and paint that onto a canvas so that viewers can understand what the heck it is we're talking about. And I think this marker-based journalism where we tell stories on interactive maps complemented by content is one way we can do it. But quite frankly, the other way we can do it is just thinking about it. Thinking about what we want the flow to be, and then using the technology as a tool to research things and use AI as a kick to help on the production end of things, like we showed you with the video sentiment analysis. So if I know I'm researching any one thing, I want to research what people are saying about the videos I've produced about it, what people have sent to me via email that I can now ingest, categorize, and classify. And if I can know where they're participating online through Reddit boards, through different things, then I can pull those comments in and I can consider those things in my editorial strategy. And a lot of those things might be reviews from Howls, Yelp, TripAdvisor. If we can paste the comments in, let's say we don't have an API integration like we do with YouTube, we can just paste them in. We can still save them and include them in a collection and include those insights into what we do. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Have a good day.